I'd like to call to order the City Council Committee on Health and Environmental Affairs. Today is Monday, July 22nd at 5 p.m. Meeting is officially starting at 5:07 p.m. Here in the City Council Chamber at One Government Center. Pursuant to the open meeting law, any person may make an audio or video recording of this public meeting or may transmit the meeting through any medium. Attendees are therefore advised that such recordings or transmissions are being made whether perceived or unperceived by those present and are deemed acknowledged and permissible. Roll call.
Councilor Long? Councilor Viveras?
Here.
Councilor Camara?
Here. Councilor Long called to inform us that he would not be able to attend tonight. Citizen input. The next item on the agenda is citizen input. And generally what's allowed is any city resident is given up to 3 minutes to speak. And we can waive the rules for a non-Fall River resident. And also, I do allow, as chairman of not only this committee, but any of the committees I chair, to allow citizen input throughout the meeting, so that not only are you allowed to come and make a statement, but you're also allowed to participate with the council members until it's time for the council members to vote, and then at that point, the council members has to make its decision. So first, I'll invite any of you that want to participate in the up to 3 minute statement time to come to the table, and then you can stay at the table if you'd like, and then participate in the rest of the meeting. So, come forth. And I would like a motion to waive the rule for the one Westporter who's joined us.
I'd like to point out that I'm a business owner.
You are a
for
business
30
owner.
years and
But before you
Fall
speak,
River.
we have to waive the rules.
Motion to waive the rules.
Second, on waiving the rules for the one out-of-town person to also participate. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, so voted. And there are 3 microphones, so you can grab any one of the 3. Jim, this microphone's available as well. Okay, who's first for input?
Name
Miss-
and address, please.
Name and address?
Eileen Wheeler Sheehan, S-H-E-E-H-A-N.
S-H-E-E.
H-A-N. 668 River Road, Westport.
Okay, and you want to give your name, Todd?
Todd Rigo, 1820 Highland Avenue, apartment 38, Fall River.
And
James Hornsby, 260 Lake Avenue, Fall River.
you have the floor, Ms. Shane. Just grab the mic close.
Oh, okay. We're here because we risk creating a lot more environmental pollution if we don't act now to eliminate a variety of single-use plastics, but we're here particularly to propose that Fall River adopt what 122 other cities and towns in Massachusetts have done, which is a ban on single-use plastic bags, sometimes called grocery bags. That's something there is tremendous precedent for, and a little bit of the urgency is that the state gravely whittled down what was under discussion for the whole state, and so there is no chance that we will get a real ban anytime in the next year or more. So I would be delighted to go on at whatever length, but my understanding is that the chair would like to adopt a bylaw that has been, or an ordinance that has been adopted in other towns, and I'm not trying to argue for a particular ban as long as it's effective and reduces and eliminates those single-use plastic bags. what that will look like is that the grocery stores, retail stores will not be able to provide the shopping bags that are so destructive to the environment, to the sewers, to wildlife. They will instead ask people to bring reusable shopping bags. It takes a while for people to get used to this, but that's what is really necessary. And it's a tremendous cost to the town, to the city, to the health of people, and it is something that could reasonably be passed. And I understand that it needs to be acted on tonight in order to be able to move it forward for this year.
Very good. Thank you. Todd, do you want to be next?
I'll pass for now. Well, being a resident of Fall River, I've gone out and picked up garbage every so often, whenever I can. And no doubt I'm going to run into plastic bags. There are plastic bags littering the city streets. And it's just a tremendous shame to see all the single-use plastic bags that make it out into the environment. And I'm hoping tonight that we can provide some semblance of legislation for the city to ban the plastic bag distribution at the supermarkets and other big retail outlets.
You keep the mic, and Jim, just pull that other mic over to you. And I'm going to pass around the full agenda tonight. You'll find some model legislation within that agenda. There are 3 copies there, one for each of you.
Thank you. Kane, I'm the guy that picks up the papers at 315 Warren Street. Our church, about 25, 30 years ago, the kid, it just proved impossible to get anybody else to pick up. Nobody else in the world picks up cigarette butts and that sort of stuff the way I do. So if you really want some, come on Saturday morning. But I can tell you that the cigarette butts have improved. At least they're not as many. Really, we have a thing in the church with plastic bags in it. Pull them out the bottom. I rarely have to go there. There are always 2 or 3, 4 blowing in the churchyard each week. Pick them up, filled with water, filled with other things. If you really want to see a tremendous extent of plastic bags, I suggest you drive around the old Watuppa Heights property and look at the fence and the area, unless every so often everything gets cleaned, but it's just something we don't need. The stuff is bad news. It's everywhere. It's in the forest. Please adopt the ordinance.
Thank you. So, just to give a little bit of background, now you all have this in your folder, and I'll refer to it as I proceed. They're not paid by page number, but you'll see a number 3 on the top right-hand corner of the first time you see number 3, which is, yes, I'd like to move from the table, motion to lift from the table. Oh, yeah, we can take care of that. The minutes, yeah, we can. Okay, it's been pointed out that item number 2 on the agenda after citizen input is the minutes of our April 2nd meeting, so I would ask if there's a motion to accept the minutes of April 2nd.
Motion to accept minutes?
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Unanimously voted to accept the minutes of April 2nd. Now, the item number 3 is the resolution to replace plastic T-shirt bags with environmentally responsible bags. This was tabled at our April 2nd meeting. Motion to lift from the table.
Motion to lift from the table?
Made by Councilor Viveras, seconded by me. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So the item is now lifted from the table. So the original resolution you'll see submitted by Councilor me, Stephen Kamara, as well as Councilor Pamela Liberty LeBeau, was to have this committee convene with the administration and the Director of Health and Human Services to vet the possibility of adopting this policy in Fall River. So we've discussed this on several occasions and most recently tabled it back in April. And we tabled it then because we felt that that we were on the way to a statewide vote to ban plastic bags statewide. We were hopeful that would be done this legislative session, and it still may be done this legislative session, but it doesn't look too good. It doesn't look promising. So it's been brought to my attention, particularly by Ms. Sheehan, that it's time for the city to act. And so the second item on number 3 is the massgreen.org plastic bag legislation indicating that as of, and this is fairly recent, 122 cities and towns in Massachusetts have passed some kind of an ordinance in the Commonwealth to address the issue of plastic bags. This was part of a much larger set of information, and if any of you want more information, you can go to massgreen.org to get that information. Subsequent to this, I believe that Green Futures of Fall River has endorsed the action
That's correct.
of legislation being adopted locally, and I believe the Green Party has also established
Absolutely.
by vote. So we're being asked by 2 entities within the city of Fall River to move this thing forward on a local basis. I looked through many of the 122 ordinances, and they all have many parallels, but I found 2 that I think are pretty good models. One is the first one that you'll see, which is the City of Newton, and that's I think a 4-page ordinance, and you'll see that their ordinance is a rather stiff offense. First offense is a warning, second offense is $100, third offense is $200, and fourth and subsequent offenses is $300. The other ordinance that I copied is the plastic waste reduction ordinance of the city of Attleboro. And the reason why I included this in your packet is because Attleboro is another Bristol County city, and it provides for a simpler ordinance of 2 pages with quite a reduction in the fine. The fine of $50 shall apply for the first violation, and a fine of $100 shall apply for the second violation and each subsequent violation. What I'm suggesting now, and it was the council's desire that rather than this item going to the ordinance and legislation committee, which is where it has to go in order to get adopted, that the council wanted it first to be aired by this committee. I believe this committee has aired it substantially, and again, we were hopeful that the state would step up, but they haven't, so that's why it's back before us. So I'm suggesting now that we, by resolution, forward to the council a resolution that might read, and I would be asking my colleague, Councilor Viveras, to agree to make this resolution. And by the way, in respect of the open meeting law, we haven't discussed this separate from this meeting, so that's why I'm stating it right up front, that I'm asking Councilor Viveras now as the other council member to move that we forward to the council a resolution that might read something very simply, be it resolved that in order to reduce plastic bags in Fall River, that we ask the council to forward this item to the Committee on Ordinances and Legislation to draft an ordinance appropriate to the city of Fall River to reduce plastic in Fall River, plastic bags in Fall River. So that would be a simple resolution, and you got most of the language on that.
In order to reduce plastic bags in the city of Fall River.
Past plastic bag distribution in the city of Fall River.
Am I allowed to suggest?
Sure, yeah.
In your example.
Resolution?
In your resolution, you use the generic term plastic bag, but in this definition, it talks about thin film, single-use plastic checkout bag. And I think that is more specific to what you're aiming at with your.
Okay, which page is that? Is that on the Newton ordinance?
It's in the Attleboro Definitions, 7-11.2 definitions.
7-11-2. Thin film, single-use plastic checkout bag.
It's up to you, but that might, when you talk plastic bags, you might get distracted by other kinds of bags that happen to be plastic. For example, dry cleaners bags, or there's lots of other bags that could detract us from the giant, the elephant of this, are these T-shirt bags, single-use, thin plastic bags, and so it's a good place to start.
Okay, and we can certainly use that language as part of our resolution. However, that will be the purpose of the ordinance committee, is to get the fine language specified, and they might use the Attleboro ordinance, or they might use other ordinances, but it would be their jurisdiction. So we could keep the language generic, or we could in fact use this language to reduce thin film, single-use plastic checkout bags. So, would that be, is that a satisfactory to your advocacy, that we get it out of this committee, put it into the council agenda? The council next meets on August 12th. So this item would go before the council on August 12th. The council would then refer it to the Committee on Ordinances and Legislation, which is chaired by Councilor Stephen Long, who's not here tonight, but he's the chairman of the Ordinances and Legislation Committee. And then it would behoove us and you to ask Councilor Long to include this on an upcoming Ordinance and Legislation Committee agenda, so that then the language could be very specifically established. And I will share with Mr. Long the file that we've collected on plastic bags reduction.
Is there any opportunity to talk about the dilemma and quantify it and stuff to create the urgency? Because I would hate to see it hit the ordinance committee and fall behind other priorities.
That would be both the council on the 12th and the ordinance committee when it convenes to present to it the sense of urgency.
Being a Westport resident, I'm not that familiar with.
This sounds like the normal procedure to me.
Okay, all right, that's fine.
And, and it must go to the ordinance committee, because they're the ones that draft the ordinances, which are the laws. And this would be a law, to use a layman's term, in the city of Fall River. And I hope it becomes such.
So Councilor, are you able to make that motion?
Could you just repeat the,
Read the resolution?
Well, that's what I want to clarify.
Be it resolved.
Yeah, be it resolved in order to reduce the thin film, single-use plastic checkout bags, that the Committee on Ordinance and Legislation convene to prepare an ordinance to
Address this issue.
address this issue.
so moved.
Okay, and seconded. Any further discussion on the resolution? We could add, we could amend it, this is as soon as possible, so that we add a sense of urgency as soon as possible. Are you okay with that amendment? So motion to amend, friendly amendment, all in favor
Aye.
of the amended? And now move adoption of the resolution as amended.
So moved.
So move to adopt the resolution as amended, made by Councilor Rivera, seconded by me. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, so voted. And that completes our work for the moment. I know that there is an interest to go beyond single-use plastic bags, to take a look at straws, to take a look at single-use plastic bottles, and beyond. So
Not
there's
to mention nips.
nips, and there's a lot of work to
But
be
you're
done.
talking to the guy that picks them up.
So I'll entertain now a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn is made, seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion, meeting adjourned.